What's going on, y'all? I don't know what number video this is, but it's just to speak on a few things. I just finished watching a video from a young man. His name is Trey Melvin. His YouTube site. He's a fellow YouTuber. His YouTube site is this is a commentary. He's a very bright young man, and he happens to be black. Not that it's a big deal, but I just want to put that out there. So in case you don't know who he is, that's him. He spoke out about the people getting shot in those young people who got shot in Ferguson, and that other kid, I can't remember his name right now. I'm sorry, it's my TBI. I mean, he brought some very valid points. It seems like when a black person gets shot or a black youth gets shot by a police officer that happens to be white in a certain manner, you know, they try to find reasons to justify how that police officer shot him. Now, I, for one, don't care what race they are. When I hear that a police officer shot down one of our youths here in America, it bothers me. It tells me that that maybe certain measures weren't taken before jumping to lethal force. Because, I believe that these young people, from 19 to 22 or whatever, I'm 37, that they're going to be the future of the country. They're going to have the jobs. They're going to have the educations. They're going to keep carrying our country forward. We're not, this 40-year-old police officer or that 30-something-year-old police officer isn't. It's these youths. And I don't care how large a person is or how strong a person might be. If they're unarmed and you have a firearm, you automatically have an advantage. So lethal force shouldn't be the first priority or the second or the third or the fourth. I'm sure they have stun guns or tasers. I'm sure they have pepper spray and all these things that are quite effective. I've been pepper sprayed, and it's quite effective. I don't care how big or tough you think you are. You get pepper sprayed, you're stopping in your tracks. So my concern is that this is going to keep going, and what's going to end up happening is some communities will react adversely. I think I'm saying that right. I don't know. But it means they'll react the wrong way, and they'll take to the streets to do violence or rioting like they have been doing, looting like they have been doing. It just continues to escalate. It's just going to keep escalating. I believe that acts like this should be fully investigated, 110%. If there were any other options for that police officer, no matter what color he is, no matter what color that youth is, murder is still murder. And I believe if there were other options and they resorted to lethal force, then they should be held accountable. They should be punished swiftly and harshly. So it sends a message to other police officers that they have to expend every option before having to take someone's life. I'm sure if they would have shot him in the leg, he would have went down, threat over. He'd have been hospitalized and then paid his debt to society. It worries me that this is going to keep going. For a long time, when I was in the military, I turned a blind eye to things that were happening domestic. Of course, except for 9/11 and things of that nature. But now that I'm out, all I have to look at is things that are domestic, and I see all these things, and they're, and they bring things to light. We as a people, as Americans, no matter what our color skin is, we need to be on the same sheet of music. We need to be on the same side. If you're an American and I'm an American and you're worried about how to steal from another American, then you're the reason why this country's like this. If you're a police officer and you say to yourself, if you're a white cop and you go, black folks got no reason to be here, or your black cop saying white folks ain't got no reason to be here, anything like that, no matter what your race is, and you're saying, and you're against another race even though they're American citizens, then you are the reason why we are like this right now. You're the reason why stuff like this gets swept under the table. You're the reason why stuff like this is going to keep happening. So if you want our communities to change, if you want our lives here as Americans to change, and you need to change your frame of mind. No matter how you spin us, no matter how, I'm Puerto Rican, Trey Melvin's black, my girlfriend's white. If you skin us all down, we all still have a heart, lungs, stomach, intestines. It's all the same. All of it is the same. And if you think that you're better because your outside is a different color or because you had a better upbringing, everyone isn't so lucky. Everyone isn't so privileged. Some people are born into, living in the ghetto, just so that you guys understand, lower income families, and they do what they have to survive. And then they adapt or they adopt certain behaviors, like street fighting or maybe even mugging people and stuff like that. I was born in that kind of life. I lived in the Bronx, New York. I lived in the PJs. You know, I was fighting somebody once, twice a week. I was out jumping people. I was doing all sorts of stuff because I was a product of my environment. Okay, and I believe that people can change, no matter what your past is, no matter what your present is. You can change. If you're incarcerated and you do your time and you come out and you vow to not do that stuff again, then you've already started changing. So what I'm gonna tell you people, everyone out there in YouTube land, is your frame of mind needs to change so that things like this can change. And it starts with us. It's not going to start, you're not going to point fingers at, oh, well, that cop's a racist. Don't worry about that cop. You worry about you. You change you, and maybe you'll change him. Everything that you have inside, outward projects. So if you hate outward projects. So you're hating, people feel it, people get a vibe, and then they hate you back. It's just one of those things. So all these things I hear about young kids getting shot and freaking police brutality, which has been around for as long as I could remember. Rodney King, just so on and so forth. It's been around as long as I can remember. We have to change this internally. You're not going to look at a police force. Maybe this patrolman Johnson. He beat up a youth, and it was just police brutality. His sergeant or his captain could be corrupt too. So these things we have to change internally. We have to change the way that we think, so things like that can change as well. It's in our hands to change our communities. It's in our hands to change the way that we see ourselves as a society, as a one people, as Americans. So that things like this can just stop happening. If that cop had valued that young person's life, I'm sure he would have expended every single option, every avenue before shooting this young man. And I wasn't there. I'm sure none of us here that are watch this video was there too. We could only go by what we see in the news and what they say in court. That's admissible in court. So I'm sure there's a lot of facts that are omitted because it's not admissible. It's just, it's a system that people control. So if a person in there is corrupt, it corrupts the entire system. So we as a people need to change this. And I implore other YouTubers to spread this message, to spread that we as a people need to change the way that we think, the way that we view life, the way that we view all life, not just life, but all life, no matter what race, creed, or color, and value it. If we all valued each other's life in a single community, let's say you lived in a neighborhood, 12 or 13 houses, and everyone in that neighborhood took care of one another. Now, how safe that neighborhood would be. How close that little community would be. Now, just make that times 10, times 20, times 30. Just keep spreading it. So we need together as a people, together, we need to work this out. We need to get this. We need to weed out racism. We need to weed out prejudice and intolerance. And ignorance. Ignorance is what does all of this. When I know that white youth get shot too. It's not just black people. It's not just Puerto Ricans or Asians. Everyone gets shot. I'm sure if you go to if you go to a cemetery, there's people there that are dead that aren't black or that aren't Asian or that aren't Puerto Rican or whatever. So if you want to change in your community, you have to change what you think so that you can start changing your community yourself. Okay? I just kind of want to get that out because I watched that video from that young man and he moved me. The way that he spoke so passionately and so eloquently. It just made me want to jump on here and say a few words too and support him. And any YouTuber that watches his video should support him too. Spread that word. We're not going to stop this cycle unless we do something about it. And I don't mean violence. I mean, we need to change the way that we think, change our state of mind, so we can change other people's state of mind. All right? One love. Peace.